Walking out of Inside Out 2, I'm not gonna lie, I was in tears. Inside Out 2, seriously, is bringing back Pixar. What is up, guys and Pixar fans? Welcome back to my channel. This is Edebiri Reviews. My name is On the Brinkcat, and today I'm going to review the highly anticipated animated film, and that film is Inside Out 2. This is the latest Pixar film, and this is a sequel to the beloved 2015's Inside Out. This movie is not directed by Pete Docter, who directed the first movie. This is a director debut by Kelsey, Mann. And this movie stars the returning cast of Amy Poehler, Phyllis Smith, Lewis Black, with some recasting including Tiny Hale and Liza Lapira, with some new people from Hawke and Edebiri. Riley is now 13 years old, and basically the emotions including joy, sadness, fear, anger, and disgust faces the biggest challenge of them all: puberty. And when it comes to puberty, there are some new emotions that lay in place, and it causes a lot of chaos at the headquarters. Now, when it comes to the first Inside Out movie, it is definitely in my top 5 favorite Pixar films of all time. It's a movie that's very creative, very deep, and also one of the most emotional Pixar films I've seen, with Toy Story 3 and Up. It's a movie that definitely made me cry. But it's one of the most creative Pixar films that I have seen, and I feel like that's what Pixar is really great at, using worlds and making them as creative as possible. And I think Inside Out did that really, really well, and it's one of my favorite animated films of 2015. But when it comes to Pixar right now, honestly, I enjoyed some of the new Pixar films that came out, but they're just not feeling like classic Pixar. They just felt like, yeah, that's a Pixar film. We needed a Pixar film that just felt like what Pixar is all about. The creativity, the deep, and a movie just for the entire freaking family. So when it comes to Inside Out 2, I was of course very skeptical. Even though it is on my anticipated movies of the year, I was skeptical because, you know, like I keep saying, last year, so many disappointments, and I was kind of getting out of hand of anticipation with big blockbusters that are coming out in the summer. But man, this year, I keep saying this year has been one of the biggest surprises. There's so many great summer blockbusters this year. So, when I went into Inside Out 2, I heard great reviews for the movie, and I'm like, oh, this could bring Pixar back. This could bring the classic Pixar back. And especially that I love the first Inside Out, I was in for this movie. Especially tackling on puberty in this film. I think that is a really good step forward for this world of Riley's brain, and I think this could have been one of the most creative aspects of the film. And I gotta say, guys, I watched Inside Out 2 in IMAX, and walking out of Inside Out 2, I'm not gonna lie, I was in tears. Inside Out 2, seriously, is bringing back Pixar. Seriously, Pixar is back, ladies and gentlemen, because Inside Out 2 brings what Pixar is all about. Now, is this better than the first Inside Out? In my opinion, no. And it's for a different reason. It's not because there are more flaws in this movie. I would say Inside Out always holds a special place in my heart. I feel like Inside Out 2 is a great follow-up. It's sort of like The Incredibles in a way. And The Incredibles is one of my favorite Pixar films of all time. But Incredibles 2 is definitely worth the wait and still a great sequel. And that is definitely what Inside Out 2 bring us. This is definitely so far one of the best animated films of this entire year. And one of the better Pixar films that I have seen in a long time. Let's talk about the characters in this film. We have the returning cast of Amy Poehler as Joy, Phyllis Smith as Sadness, and Lewis Black as Anger. Those castings, they're fantastic. Amy Poehler as Joy is still one of the main focus on this film, and that is great because I love Joy in the first Inside Out movie, and we get to see more challenges with Joy in this film, and Amy Poehler does a great performance in the film. Phyllis Smith as Sadness is so much fun in this film. She's not as much spotlighted than the first one was. Definitely Anxiety is the biggest spotlight, but Sadness is still really good in this film. Anger, Lewis Black, he still cracks me up in this film. But we also got some recastings in this film, because Bill Hader and Mindy Kaling is not returning as discussed in Fear. This time it's replaced by Tony Hale and Liza Lapira, who I think does a really good job. Even though I would say, as a slight nitpick, I do miss those original castings, but I think Tony Hale and Liza Lapira does a really good job replacing those two. I feel like there's still those characters of fear and disgust. But we got some new emotions, and that's what sequels are all about. Bring up some new characters, expanding the world, and yes, the new emotions are also great in this movie. Edebiri as Envy is so adorable in this film, and she plays a really adorable character in this film. Paul Walter Hauser, frickin' Stingray from Cobra Kai, is playing embarrassment, and man, he is one of the most likable characters that I've seen in the film, and one of the most, like I said with Envy, adorable. The one who plays Ennui is also really good in this film. I can't pronounce the actress's name, but of course, Anxiety, voiced by Hawke, is this film. She stands out in this film, and the trailers make sure that she is going to be the standout in the film because they market her the most, and they did that for a good reason, because Anxiety, man, Hawke is fantastic voice casting this character. Anxiety is one of those characters that you understand her motives, and you definitely do feel Anxiety once in a while, so you definitely feel related to Anxiety in this film. She's one of those antagonists that she's not really a bad person. She's one of those characters that thinks that what she is doing is right for Riley, and I just thought she is very relatable in this film. Actually, all the emotions feel very, very relatable in this film, but Anxiety, you definitely feel the pressure, because this movie is all about becoming a teenager, making new friends, growing up, and of course, you get a bit of anxiety in your life, so you definitely feel related to Hawke's anxiety in the film, and she definitely stood out in this film. All the emotions is great, but how about the animation? Hell yes, Pixar is definitely stepping up to its game, because man, the animation just gets better and better and better from more Pixar films to come. The animation in this film is fantastic, especially when you see this in IMAX. You see a lot of attention to detail. There's a lot of backgrounds of trees that look very realistic. You get to see like little textures of like sweat and stuff that look very freaking realistic. Man, the animation of Pixar is definitely getting better. And the animation of Inside Out 2 is fantastic, especially the world of Riley's brain. It definitely expands in this film. There are some beautiful animated trends in this film, and there's also a certain moment in this film where, I'm not going to spoil it, but the film goes in different styles of animation, and I'm not going to spoil it. You know what I'm talking about after you watch this film, but there are some scenes that show a different style of animation, and I thought it's very, very creative. Is this movie hilarious? Yes, I would say it's more funnier than the first movie. Not just because you feel so related to Riley's character, there are certain moments in this film that use so much creativity to make us laugh. There's literally a moment in this film that I'm not going to spoil, and it's involved with secrets that Riley has. And I was literally cracking up laughing till I choke on my popcorn. This movie is definitely hilarious. More funnier than the first Inside Out movie. But yes, this movie is also, no surprise, very emotional at a couple of moments. The third act, I'm not gonna lie, I cried. And I honestly never cried in a Pixar film in a long time. Probably since Soul. I'm not kidding. I haven't teared up in a Pixar film since Soul. That's crazy, and Inside Out 2 just brings back the emotional elements, and I feel like Pixar is really good at that at the time with Toy Story 3. Up. Actually, most Pixar films have some tear-jerking moments, and I feel like that's what Pixar is great at, and this movie just brings it all back. This movie definitely will make you cry towards the end because of how relatable you feel within the situation the characters are in, and even for Riley's perspective in general. I even like that we get to see more of Riley herself in the film, because honestly, the first Inside Out movie, yeah, you know you're inside Riley's brain, but we don't get to see much Riley. This movie, we get to see more of Riley, and the voice of Riley is really well done. But like I said, this movie brings back all the creativity that I feel like Pixar is missing right now. The creativity of Riley's world in this film, her brain, since it's now reaching through puberty, there are some new expansions in the film. And other worlds in this film that it's presenting is really well done and very creative and very deep. But the themes of Inside Out 2 is fantastic. This movie is dealing with, of course, puberty, growing up, making new friends, how could it affect others? And this movie just really feels relatable. I feel like this will definitely feel relatable to adults out there, because you watch this film and you go, yeah, I remember dealing with this situation that Riley is in. This is definitely a very mature film. Kids will definitely love this film and they will definitely understand this film, but I feel like Inside Out 2 is definitely more aimed to adults, really. But definitely this is a family film, because Honestly, this film just balances what Pixar does a great job at for kids and adults. There's something fun for the kids and something fun for the adults that you feel very related to. This movie is definitely perfect for the entire family. But I'd say this film is much more mature because, of course, it's dealing with puberty. And when adults are watching this film, especially parents, they'll definitely feel related to Riley in this film. Every moment that Riley goes through in the film, you're like, yeah, I remember doing something like that. And I remember that affected some others, and you definitely feel more emotion when you think about it. And I think Kelsey Mann, for his directorial debut for this movie, he definitely directed this film well, and he definitely pays respect to what makes the first Inside Out movie great, and just builds it up more to this film. If this movie is going to be a trilogy, I would love to see a trilogy after this film, because after this film, I'm curious to see where the third movie goes. You know, with the first one, it's about her child life, her moving in. The second one's about her growing up, her teenage years, and I want to see Riley in her adulthood in the third movie. Maybe we get one more new emotion. Let's see about that. My only nitpick of this film really is fear and disgust in the film with the voiceovers, like I said. I do wish Bill Hader and Mindy Kaling comes back voicing those characters, but that's my only gripe with the film because, guys, overall, Inside Out 2 is definitely one of the best animated films of the year. This movie is a huge surprise. This is the movie that brings back Pixar. The old emotions are great, the new emotions are great. Anxiety stole this entire movie for me with Amy Poehler as Joy. But each voice casting is great in the film. The world building of this film, the creativity of the film is fantastic. This film's hilarious. This film's very emotional towards the end. I literally teared up. The themes are great. This is basically the right ingredients of what you need from Pixar right now. And hopefully Pixar just keeps it up after Inside Out 2. Bring back the classic Pixar that we wanted, because Inside Out 2, seriously, is one of the better Pixar films that I have seen in a very long time, and I highly recommend families to go check out this movie. Especially for fans of the first Inside Out, you will definitely not be disappointed with this film, because I gotta say, Inside Out 2 is a masterpiece. This movie is definitely going to be in competition with Moana 2, which I'm also looking forward to, and they're both second installments, so we'll see, but I want Inside Out 2 to stay, because this is definitely my favorite animated film this year. So guys, that is my review for Inside Out 2. Let me know what you think of this film in the comments below, and what is your favorite emotion in the Inside Out movies? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you guys follow me on social media links down below, keep contacting with me, and make sure you guys subscribe to my channel for my latest movie reviews and other movie related content. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a nice day.